Hey, happy football Sunday. So it's Sunday night, and right now the Lions are playing the Los Angeles Rams, which I really don't care about. I'm here to talk about the Raiders game. I was looking forward to it. I was excited. I did find a place where I can actually watch the game. I came in um like the second half of the game. So I didn't get to see the first half, but I did go back, however, and watch the game, the quick game on YouTube. So I got the gist of it. Um, so the final score between the Raiders and the Chargers was 10-22. I'm gonna go through some of the stats, the possession stats. The Raiders dominated in the time of possession. We were equally yoked with the total drives, the total plays. We dominated the total yards. They dominated yards per play. It was they 5.9 to our 5. So yeah, they dominated. The red zone touchdowns, they had 2 to our zip. Red zone attempts, they had 4 to our 1. So now to the passing, 225 yards to their 140, 25 completions to their 17, 33 passing attempts to their 26, yards per attempt 6.8 to their 5.4. Passing touchdowns tied at 1. Rushing, they dominated. In attempts, yards gained, they dominated in every aspect of the rushing category. And turnovers, all us. Turnovers, 3 total. Fumbles, 2. Fumbles lost, 2. Interception, 1. To their zip, zip, zip. So we dominated in some categories. They dominated in others. However, they had no fumbles or no turnovers. So that was pretty much it. I noticed that our defense played really great. Nate Hobbs, Max Crosby, and Jack Jones. So did Christian Wilkinson. I think his name is. I don't know if it's Wilkinson or Wilkins, but you know what I'm talking about. So they dominated. They did give up a lot of runs, especially from J.K. J.K. was eating. He was eating. I think he got 2 touchdowns, or I think he got 2. I don't know. I don't know how many touchdowns he got, but he got 1, and he had some big runs on the defense, and of course everything broke out in a fight towards the end. Jack Jones was ejected, but it was a pretty much done deal anyway, so it really didn't matter. I'm sure he's going to get a fine. However, the play calling, Raiders Nation is up in arms about the play calling from our offensive coordinator Luke Getzey. He came over from the Chicago Bears. He was the only one that was fired off from that crew, I believe. Everybody else, they pretty much kept. They let him go because he was crap. He was trash. And today was on display. He put on display just how trashy he is. So I think he's going to be a problem, and he may cause AP to lose his coaching job. So I'm not sure who to back up, who's next in line if something were to happen with Getzey. But I know it's just the first game of the season, but Raiders Nation, the complaints are crazy. Of course, they're yelling bench Minshew already, bench Minshew, but I don't really think it was his fault. The O line didn't hold up. What else? Let me see. The fumbles and the interceptions didn't help at all. I'm trying to think what I saw. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head because it's really late. It's like 10 o'clock here in Baltimore. So I didn't have time to make notes because I've been ripping and running all day, but I did get a chance to watch the game, the expedited game. And I think Devontae Adams maybe had 2 or 3 receptions. He didn't even break, I don't know, maybe not even 50 yards, I don't think. He didn't score a touchdown. And it wasn't an impressive game at all. I didn't even hone in on the officiating because I was so, everybody is really scarred from the officiating from Thursday night's game. But I really wanted to focus in on the officiating throughout the league today. But I had things come up, life was life, and so I couldn't really sit still and watch any games. But I did see highlights in the Raiders game in particular. I was really interested in this game because being in Baltimore is hard for me to get to see the game, so I have to go by go off of YouTube and the Raider experts and things like that. But I did get a chance to really watch the second half. I found somebody that had it, so bless their soul, and I wasn't impressed. They let the game get away from them. Antonio Pierce made a couple of calls that were questionable, same as he did in the preseason game. The last preseason game, especially when I was there, I noticed it, and he did the same thing. I think on a 4th and 1 or something like that. 4th and 1, yeah, something like that. And I'm so sorry I'm unprepared, but I had to get on here because I said I was going to get on here and talk about the game. But I'm just mad that we took that L. But back to Antonio Pierce, his decision making is kind of questionable. Um, and that's been a trait of his. He is a defensive coach, so he's partial to defensive play, and and I don't know whose idea it was to hire Luke Getsy. If it was well, Antonio doesn't do the hiring, so but I think Luke Getsy was defensive coordinator. He was the third one. I think they wanted the guy that's with the Commanders now, and then Cliff Kingsbury, and then they was going for the Chip Kelly, but he didn't come on board, so they settled for Getsy. But I don't know. Like I said, both. Okay, so let's get on to the matchup for next Sunday. Is going to be the Baltimore Ravens and the Oakland Raiders. My two teams, as you see, and they're both 0-1. So somebody's going to come out the victor. So one of my teams are going to be 1-1. Unless they have a tie, which I seriously doubt. And like I said, defense played hard. And nobody really stood out with the Raiders on offense. There were a couple of big plays, but nothing. Only one touchdown was scored. I know the kicker. He missed one field goal, same as Justin Tucker, and like I said, two questionable calls from Antonio Pierce was resulted in a turnover on downs, and then the fumbles and the interceptions led to field goals. So they got scores. They scored off our misfortunes, and that's like the decider of a lot of games is fumbles, and turnovers, and ball placement and ball handle. Did I say that right? Ball handlement. That's not a word, but you got to hold the ball. You got to you got to protect the ball, and you got to score. So I'm sure Minshew is still going to be our starting QB at least for the first quarter of the season. So that's 4 weeks, and they'll see how he does. But I really hope things get better. They are coming to Baltimore. Both teams are coming off losses, so it's going to come down to whichever team is the hungriest. Both our O lines are shitty. They're crap. Excuse my language. But both our O lines are crap, and I think we had two injuries. I think it was in the offense, maybe. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna go back and check it out. But the game we took it to L. The let me see here, right? Stats. Jacoby Myers, 3 receptions, 61 yards. No touchdowns. The only person that scored a touchdown on the Ravens was Madison. So he scored a touchdown. That was the only touchdown of the game. Was from him. And let's see, Devontae Adams, he got 5 receptions for 59 yards. He didn't even break 60 yards. So, I'm sure he wasn't. I mean, listen, Minshew wasn't throwing, he didn't throw hospital balls. So Adams can't complain about that. At least he wasn't throwing them, to kill him or anything like that. But we could have played so much better. But like I said, especially with the Baltimore Ravens, it's our first game out. We didn't play starters. The Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders didn't play starters during the preseason. So this was like an exhibition game, a glorified exhibition game for us. And same with the Baltimore Ravens. We didn't play any starters, not the main stars. Not like a couple of people on defense played. But so that was our exhibition game. So Sunday will be the day. Sunday. Hopefully, I will be at the game, and I'm going to go and do the podcast directly after the game. So I will be probably going live from the podcast studio, my first time ever. So make sure y'all tune in for that. Now, listen, I'm not into plays, and that's not my thing. I like to talk about the controversial stuff, but I'm learning more and more as I go along how to watch the game, to analyze it, and not so much as a fan. But when I'm there at the stadium, I like to watch it as a fan. So I always have my earbuds in so I can listen to the announcers while I'm watching the game, and pick up on some little tidbits that I don't really see because I get so caught up in the moment, especially with the popcorn. But yeah, so the podcast is going to be from the studio next Sunday at 5. So we're going to go live at 5 on next Sunday. I'm going to try to do some more lives and stuff like that, recordings from my home. But work be working, and it's sometimes it's tired. Women, we got to be together. We just can't jump on like you guys can throw a hat on, jump on and just do your thing. We got to look a certain way. So but yeah, so I'm disappointed in the loss. I thought we were going to pull this off, but the football gods were going their way. The football gods were going their way, and they played hard. J.K. Dobbins, shout out to him, ex-Raven. He did his thing. And let me see how many. No, I'm not even. I don't even care about that. But yeah, I'm gonna see J.K. Dobbins, 10 attempts, 135 yards. Oh, he got 1 touchdown. Damn, he got 135 yards rushing. That's a lot. Wow, Gus Edwards got 26. Okay, so yeah, but that's that. So I'm trying to think. What else do I want to say? That's about it for the Raiders. Yeah, for the Raiders. We open up at home at Allegiant Stadium to play in week 3 to play the Carolina Panthers, and they lost terribly today. So I don't know, but let's talk about real quick. Let's talk about some injuries around. There's a lot going on around the league. Let's talk about that real quick. All right, enough for the Raiders. They lost.